Welcome to the Power Bomb Podcast, my detonators. This is your boy JP, and this is the Power Bomb. And we're going to be getting into all the wrestling. Another week is in the books. We had some good wrestling. We had some sports. The All-Star game, obviously the AL took it from the NL. Only 2 hits. One of them was by PCA. So as a Cubs fan, super happy about that. Looking forward to the second half of the season for the Cubbies. Will Pete Crow Armstrong, will he keep this pace up? He's been hitting like a madman. He had that month of June. And then in July, he's basically picking up right where he left off in June. Seiya Suzuki looks like he's coming around. We finally look like Bregman's going to have some life in the second half of the season. So I am looking forward to Chicago Cubs baseball towards the second half here. And look in the rearview mirror, Milwaukee Brewer fans. The Cubs are right on your tail. They're only 5 games back, because you guys decided to have a tough series with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And then you get to face the Miami Marlins, and we get to face the Minnesota Twins. So we'll see how that goes. Chicago Bulls. The Summer League is not going great. The Summer League is not going great at all. But we know this is all about Caleb Wilson. It's all about his productivity. It's about him developing. 23 points averaging in this summer league. The rest of the team not very good. Dalen Swain is still very rough at point guard. So we'll see what happens there. But this is just the summer league. These are just rookies. There's no Montas. There's no Norman Powell. There's none of those guys. This is just straight rookies. And we're not looking very good over there, but it doesn't matter. But now we get into some unfortunate news. Blackhawk fans, we just can't catch a break. We can't catch a break. We get Bowen Byram from the Buffalo Sabres, and everybody's freaking out. Like, oh, how could we mortgage our whole draft for one defenseman? Well, the fact of the matter is we really haven't won any hockey games recently, and we keep putting youth on the ice, and unfortunately, until we put some veterans on the ice with this youth, we're not going to be able to compete in the NHL. So, with Connor Bedard going out until at least December now with the shoulder injury, and this is just catastrophe. We just can't catch a break. The Blackhawks just cannot catch a break, losing Connor Bedard to a non-contact shoulder injury. That's just unlucky. But now we have to deal with the other elephant in the room, which is Patrick Kane's decision. Does he play for the Buffalo Sabres? Does he go home to Buffalo? Or does he decide to finish out his career in Chicago with the Blackhawks, the team that made him, the team he made? Patrick Kane is, and I might catch some flack for this, and hit me in the comments what you think of this. Is Patrick Kane the greatest American hockey player of all time? We could actually have a conversation about this. 3 Stanley Cup championships, 2010, 2013, 2015. Made the game-winning goal in 2010 to beat the Philadelphia Flyers. And Patrick Kane, he's must-see television. He was must-see television in Chicago. That's why they call him Showtime. That's one of the reasons why it's called the Madhouse on Madison, was because of Taves, because of Kane, because of Seabrook, because of all those guys. That Blackhawk team is talked about as legendary. And with Patrick Kane having a decision to make, if it's Chicago, if it's Buffalo, if you know that, if I had to take a guess, I would say he goes home to Buffalo. But if he truly wants to step into something that could be a lot of fun, a final ride with the Blackhawks, the team that since 2008, he has been just an absolute legend in Chicago. It would give me a reason to dust off the old Patrick Kane jerseys when the Blackhawks are on, so I could wear them as a new jersey instead of an old player. But I think it would be great. I think he would have great chemistry with Connor Bedard. It would open Connor Bedard up. We could finally see what he's doing, but we're not going to get him till December. So this would be good for Patrick Kane to, figure this out. We're also in the mix for Robertson from the Dallas Stars. He's a free agent, so we're also in the mix there. So it depends on what the Blackhawks want to do. I personally would like to see this Blackhawks team start winning some games and looking competitive on the ice. Personally. But with Bedard going out, I have to, expectations are going to be low, and I don't know what this Hawks team is going to do. I think this Hawks team is just lost, to be honest. They're just lost. They don't really have a direction. They don't know what the hell to do. And I just hope that when we go to the trade deadline, we're not looking to be sellers. We're hoping to be buyers. That's what I'd like. So we'll see what happens with that going forward with the Blackhawks. But now let's get into the wrestling portion of the Power Bomb, which is what all my detonators like to hear, is my takes on the wrestling from the week. And what a week of wrestling it was, but we cannot go any further than to talk about the 15th anniversary of one of the greatest wrestling matches of all time. Let me set the stage for you. It's 9:30 or 10:30, whatever time it was that night, July 17th, 2011. I purchased the pay-per-view. Wrestling has been garbage for a while now. It has not been a good product. John Cena's getting boring. CM Punk, a couple weeks prior, cuts the promo, says he's leaving the company. His contract is coming to an end. He says he's leaving with that WWE Championship. Sunday, July 17th, 2011. 15 years ago to the day that CM Punk in the city of Chicago took the wrestling world by storm. The match was amazing. And I'm going to say this right now, and I might catch some flack from this. You think of wrestling paraphernalia, you think of wrestling merchandise, you think of the countless John Cena t-shirts, you think of the countless Hulkamania shirts, you think of the Savage shirts. One of the most iconic wrestling shirts is the Austin 316 shirt. And that's non-negotiable, it's non-debatable. It's one of the most famous wrestling shirts of all time. Where on the list do we put the classic white shirt with the black sleeve and the Chicago flag in red and black and the Punk fist? The shirt he wore that night at Money in the Bank. That has to be one of the most iconic wrestling shirts of all time. I'm wearing it right now. But that night was special. That fan base was going insane in Chicago. Signs saying, if Punk loses, we riot. John Cena getting booed out of the arena. Punk and Cena set the stage weeks prior with their promo work. Vince McMahon with his promo work with CM Punk. It was just perfect. It was perfect. The match was perfect. The environment was perfect. The story was perfect. This was an absolute storm that hit Chicago that night. The card was decent, don't get me wrong. Daniel Bryan winning the Money in the Bank for the World Heavyweight Championship. Del Rio winning the Money in the Bank for the WWE Championship. That was cool. Randy Orton and Christian had a good match. Kelly versus one of the Bella twins. That was hot ass. Just absolute hot ass. But that night, it was all about CM Punk and John Cena. And for CM Punk, for John Cena, you get John Laurinaitis in the mix. Punk dropped him in the pipe bomb. And then we get John Laurinaitis on television to add some more realism to this. And then Punk winning that championship. I mean, that was... And him leaving through the crowd as if like, oh crap, he's actually leaving. Like Del Rio tried to come down, cash in. Vince McMahon told him, hey, Del Rio, come down here, cash in this Money in the Bank. And Del Rio gets in the ring and Punk catches him with a kick to the head. And then he's out of there. Blows a kiss to Vince. Adios. Sayonara. I do feel, though, as cool as this moment was, and as cool as CM Punk winning this championship, the coolest part of this whole night was the fact that that was the last time we got kill switches this Fire Burns. And it fit that match so perfectly. Kill switch blaring through Chicago. Just an absolutely amazing night for CM Punk. An absolutely amazing night for professional wrestling. And this was single-handedly one of the biggest things that saved WWE at the time. Because John Cena was getting boring. We were tired of the friggin' R-Truth segments with him. We were getting tired. The product was just getting really bad. And thank God somebody had this creative idea to say, hey, Punk, we want you to air your grievances, and we're going to give you a championship match at Money in the Bank. Whoever thought of that was a genius, because that put some new life into WWE at that time. And you have to think, going back to that pipe bomb, a lot of wrestling promotions thought this was real. They called Punk and said, hey, how much would it take you to come over here? And Ring of Honor called him. Obviously, Ring of Honor is a smaller promotion. He wouldn't leave WWE to go there. Actually, he might have, if he just wanted to get away and just, restart. I could totally have seen him doing the Cody Rhodes thing. He could have went over to Ring of Honor. He could have went to New Japan. Like he said in the pipe bomb promo, he said he could go to New Japan, he can go to Ring of Honor, and those companies were calling. TNA was calling too. Like, hey, if this is legit, like, we want CM Punk on our television. That's ratings. And since he's got such heat with Vince, we could use that over here. So I can see where Punk became such a huge star after that pipe bomb happened. And then you put the championship on him at Money in the Bank, biggest show in Chicago. And he walks out with that championship and he leaves. He's gone. We don't know if he's coming back. He does come back 3 weeks later, though. John Cena wins the championship over Rey Mysterio in an impromptu tournament. And Punk came back to Cult of Personality, and we got the match at SummerSlam. And then Kevin Nash came and hit Punk after he defeated John Cena. And Del Rio cashed in. You want to talk about a shitty way to go out? You have all that momentum. You're CM Punk. You are the hottest thing going in wrestling. And you get cashed in by Del Rio because Triple H brings in Kevin Nash to start a feud. And then you don't even get the match with Kevin Nash. We get Triple H and CM Punk. Triple H came out of retirement just to beat CM Punk and go right back into retirement. Punk was red hot in 2011 summer. Red hot that summer. And that is what they did. Absolute travesty by WWE Creative. Absolute travesty for Triple H being a cocksucker. But anyways, it is the 15th anniversary of the CM Punk, John Cena, Money in the Bank. I just thought I would share a little perspective on that. And now we get into Monday Night Raw. And we kick it off with the segment of Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman coming down to the ring and basically poking at Oba Femi. Paul Heyman calling Oba Femi a big dummy. And you have to think, is Oba Femi a little bit of a dummy here? He's so obsessed with Brock Lesnar, he is forfeiting his chance to go after Punk for that Undisputed Championship or Roman Reigns for that World Heavyweight Championship. Now, obviously, this is going to lead to Oba Femi absolutely running the gauntlet at the Royal Rumble, winning the Royal Rumble, and then going on to WrestleMania and absolutely demolishing whoever he wants to demolish at WrestleMania. That's where we're going to head with this for Oba Femi. He is on his way to becoming the biggest star in professional wrestling in WWE. And this is the recipe WWE uses. They use Brock Lesnar as the measuring stick. Oba Femi's going to take out Brock Lesnar at Hell in the Cell. Brock Lesnar's going to friggin' say goodbye to his family. He's going to say bye to his friends. And he's going to retire and go away. And Oba Femi is going to be the biggest thing after this. Because they're going to be like, he defeated Brock Lesnar at Hell in the Cell. Period. Not many people can say that. So there's another accolade for Mr. Oba Femi. I thought the segment was decent. The Dallas PD was out there to, because Paul Heyman put a restraining order on Obafemi, and then he put a restraining order on Brock Lesnar, so the two could not, interact with one another whatsoever. No fighting, no nothing. Save it for Hell in the Cell. And the Dallas PD comes out and tries to, be in front of Lesnar, and then Oba just gets in the ring and just freaking annihilates everybody. And the Dallas PD that night looked like the Dallas PD in friggin' 1963 when Kennedy got shot. Absolutely clueless. Absolutely clueless. And I don't understand how there wasn't better protection for Oswald. He was going to talk, and the Dallas PD just let him just walk right out there and just get shot by Jack Ruby. Biggest conspiracy of all time. But then Obafemi looks at Brock Lesnar and says, at SummerSlam, there's no more running. No more sneak attacks. No more of this. We're going to finish this at Hell in the Cell. Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar in Minnesota. Either night 1, night 2, probably night 2. And it's finally just going to happen. Then we had a solid match between Io Sky and Roxanne Perez. Roxanne is definitely the future of wrestling, of this women's division. We can all see it. Io Sky and her put on a hell of a match. And at the end of the match, Liv and Raquel come out and they lay out Io. They're already there for Roxanne's match anyways. So they lay out Io, and then Sol Ruca comes down for the save. And then she just ends up getting attacked as well. So, obviously, more building towards SummerSlam for Io Sky and Liv Morgan. I think it makes all the sense in the world for Io Sky to win this championship, but I'm not sure. They could go either way with this, but I think this could be a good way of breaking up the female Judgment Day between Liv, Raquel, and Roxanne. Then we get a Vision segment, and adding Maxine has definitely given some new life to the Vision. They're more unlikable, especially with the way Maxine's actions have been. So they're out there talking, and then Otis and Tozawa come out. And Otis and Tozawa, first Tozawa's like, Maxine, this is not you. You're not this person. Austin Theory is not a good person. And Maxine's just like, you don't even know him. And then Otis speaks up and he's like, Maxine, and he's getting into it. And then Austin Theory's like, whoa, 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 whoa. You're not about to confess your feelings for Maxine, are you? And then freaking, basically the Vision beat down Tozawa. And then Otis is fighting back, and he's got Theory. He's going through Theory. He's going through Breaker. Because obviously Logan Paul can't be involved in this because he's hurt. So Otis is cleaning house, and he's about to take out Austin Theory. But then Maxine gets in the way. And Maxine's talking to him, being like, if I only knew you felt this way, Otis, things could have been different. And then it looked like, Otis was going to kiss Maxine, and then Austin Theory just low-blowed him, and then you just see the smile on Maxine's face. And we've seen this throughout the years of professional wrestling. They always play this type of angle, and they're using Maxine now in this angle. And I think this is going to lead to Otis and Tozawa going for the tag titles. Maybe. I don't know what the end game is here. Maybe this is a way of getting Chad Gable back with Otis and Tozawa facing the Vision. I don't know. But we will definitely find out heading towards SummerSlam what the direction is for the Vision, because I feel like there is actually something to this Vision now with Maxine being a full heel. And then they had the little segment where Paul Heyman's back there, and they're like, you happy? And he's like, I'm ecstatic. And then he's like, proud? I couldn't be prouder. And then, so Austin Theory's like, so everything's good. We're all back now. And Paul Heyman's like, you have Maxine. What the hell do you need me for? So I think we're going to go in a new route with the Vision. Maxine is going to be, I hope, not the mouthpiece. Neither any of these friggin' Vision people should not be a mouthpiece. Maxine shouldn't talk. Logan Paul shouldn't talk. Austin Theory should never talk. And for love of God, don't ever give Braun Breaker a microphone. The Vision has no mouthpiece. But I think this can work. This can work maybe with Maxine. I'm not sure. But we will definitely find out. But it does look like Paul Heyman is done with the Vision going forward. Then we get the Bayley and Lyra segment that basically leads to their match at Saturday Night's Main Event. Lyra comes out. Well, first Bayley comes out. And she's like, all right, Lyra, come out here. You want to say some things to me? Come on, let's say them. So Lyra goes out there and she spits fire, saying that Bayley is the worst of the 4 horsewomen, and that she holds the locker room hostage and she keeps the talent down, and how Lyra feels that she's wasted a whole year with Bayley. And I agree. How does Lyra Valkyria go from being women's intercontinental champion and then you pair her with Bayley and you really haven't done anything? All Bayley and Lyra have done have lost tag matches. And then finally Lyra gets fed up and says, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of this BS. I'm tired of Bayley. And rightfully so. She goes from being an IC champion to friggin' having a team with Bayley. What does that do for Lyra Valkyria's character? Nothing. It does nothing. There's no projection there. So now I completely understand why Lyra has gone off the deep end. And she's well within her rights to go off the deep end. Bayley has been an absolute weight around Lyra Valkyria's shoulders. And then freaking Bayley comes back with, that's all you got? I'm a Royal Rumble winner. I'm the first ever Women's Grand Slam champion. I'm the first ever Women's Tag Team champion. Go through all of her freaking accolades. And all I'm thinking to myself is, Lyra, knock her the fuck out. Because Lyra's right. Bayley is the weakest of the 4 horsewomen. She's not Charlotte, she's not Sasha, and she's not Becky. Those 3 are just better. They have more charisma. They have more talent in the ring. They're just better. And unfortunately, Bayley's not going to get to that level. I'm sorry, but it looks like there's going to be a Saturday Night's Main Event match between Lyra and Bayley, and I hope we write Bayley off television. I hope Lyra Valkyria grabs a chair, puts Bayley's arm in it, and just smashes it. Because maybe Bayley needs this, maybe Lyra needs this, but I think Bayley needs to get written off. I really do. Then we got a vignette. Big Cass returning August 3rd, the night after SummerSlam. The big question is Enzo coming with him? Are we going to get Enzo at some point? Because as much as I like Big Cass coming back, and I love the vignette, they showed the SAWFT, all that. When somebody tells you that you're gonna be a big star and then it doesn't happen. And Big Cass went to friggin' AEW and it didn't work there. He was in TNA for a while, it didn't work there. They put him with Jericho and that learning tree thing, and then they just kept calling him Big Bill. I didn't get it. Plus, AEW has a terrible way of using their big men. They just can't get the big men right. It's always the smaller guys that get more of the opportunities, that are better creatively. But for some reason, for example, Wardlow. You have a Wardlow. He's over like no one else. They do the whole Goldberg entrance with him, everybody going, Wardlow. And then Tony Khan finds a way to fuck that up. So Big Cass being back in WWE can only be a benefit for him. And I'm just wondering if Enzo's coming. Because if Enzo's coming, then you have a legitimate threat to the tag team division by putting Enzo and Cass back together in that tag team division, a division that could absolutely use it. I mean, the vision of the tag team champions, friggin' Logan Paul's hurt. You got Austin Theory and Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker looks like he wants no part of the vision anymore. He looks like he's done. He looks like he's checked out creatively. You could see it in like the little facials he makes when they're doing backstage segments. He is not happy to be there. He is pissed off. He doesn't want anything to do with this Vision storyline, and he wants out. So if there's any chance for somebody to write him off of television and get him away from the Vision, I would do so, because he looks pissed off and he looks angry as hell, because he was once considered a huge next star in this company, and so far being with the Vision, he's with Logan Paul, who's a freaking idiot, and he's with Austin Theory, who's an absolute ratings drainer. So for God's sakes, if you're going to have a chance with Braun Breaker, you got to get him out of the Vision. You have to get him out of the Vision. All right, let's get into this gauntlet match that determined the Intercontinental Championship #1 contender going into SummerSlam. Here's how it went. Dominic started it out. Joe Hendry was in the match with him. Dominic ends up winning, but I want to focus on Joe Hendry for a second here. I want to focus on Joe Hendry. Has he lost some mystique? Has he become too mainstream? You know when you hear a really good song, like back in the day, and you feel like you're the only one that really knows this song, and then you start talking to your friends about it, and then they start liking the song, and then immediately the radio will start playing this song to death until you don't want to hear it anymore. That's how I feel about Joe Hendry. I feel that he was a cool underground thing for the fans in TNA, and then he caught wildfire in TNA with this, and everybody was a fan of it. And then they did the TNA NXT relationship, and Joe Hendry is huge in TNA, and then they start sprinkling him into WWE slowly. You know, they even give him a damn match. They put him in the Royal Rumbles. Then they give him a damn match at WrestleMania against Randy Orton. And I feel that Joe Hendry is that underground song that is starting to get overplayed on the radio. Hit me in the comments if you agree with me or disagree with me. But I feel Joe Hendry has lost a little momentum. So Dominic defeats Joe Hendry. Javon defeats Dominic Mysterio with Danhausen's help, because Danhausen did come out and he did put a curse on Dominic Mysterio, and Javon Evans capitalized. And then Javon Evans defeated Dragon Lee with a victory roll. That was a hell of a match. That was a damn good match. And then Rusev came in and took out Javon Evans in another solid match. All these were pretty much decent matches. Gable defeated Rusev to move on. And then Gable defeated Ethan Page. And it's going to be Gable versus Penta. Full round we go. Full 360. Gable versus Penta. What started it all with Chad Gable. Chad Gable was Penta's first opponent on Raw. Now Gable is going to be his opponent at SummerSlam. Gable just, from that match with Penta, Gable is the one that put the masks on, started being El Grande Americano. Now that is no longer, now he is back in WWE. He is now going for the Intercontinental Championship, and it's against Penta. Phenomenal full circle moment for Chad Gable. Chad Gable should be your next Intercontinental Champion at SummerSlam. Period. He has so much momentum right now. He should be the Intercontinental Champion. I swear to God, I see a world where the Vision gets involved. I see a vision that they get involved somehow. I don't know. Maxine, somebody. I hope not, but I would not be shocked if somehow Gable gets screwed out of this Intercontinental Championship. I would love to see Gable. I just want to see this match on its own. I don't want to see any outside interferences. I don't want to see any crap. Just give me Gable and Penta, because I know this match is going to be damn good. That's all I want. Just give me Gable and Penta, and I know the match is going to be really good. Now, throughout the night, there's been different segments showing the Shield and the history of it. You know, they came in 2013 as bodyguards for CM Punk. And, you know, you got your Seth Rollins, you got your Dean Ambrose, you got your Roman Reigns. And then they start talking about Seth and Roman down the road and what happened with everything. So we get ourselves to the final segment of the night. The contract signing between the OTC, Roman Reigns, and Seth frickin' Rollins. There's two ways how this went. Roman won the promo battle, and it wasn't even close. Here are the facts Roman Reigns spit at Mr. Seth Rollins. Number one that I thought was just amazing. Seth Rollins needs ladder matches. He needs Money in the Bank ladder matches to win, to get his championships. And you know what? When you sit back and you think about it, he cashed in on Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 31. Then he cashed in on CM Punk at last year's SummerSlam. Now, in between, obviously, he's won championships without the Money in the Bank briefcase. But if you think about it, his two biggest ones are after winning Money in the Banks. So, Roman had him there. And then Roman's like, even your daddy, Triple H, has given you opportunities left and right. They gave you everything I had, and you still couldn't get the job done. And that's right. They made a whole championship because Roman Reigns never defended that title. They made a whole separate championship, and Seth Rollins won it. And guess what? That title didn't really get the notoriety. I don't feel that championship really got its due diligence until Gunther got it. And then when Gunther got it, Punk defeated him. And that championship match at SummerSlam was so good because Gunther had that championship so over that when Punk won it, everyone was just amazed. And then Seth Rollins obviously cashed in and took it from CM Punk. But because Gunther got that championship to that level, I feel he was the one that made it special. And by Punk taking it off of him, Punk made it more special. And then Roman obviously taking that championship to just another stratosphere. That the only person that could take it there would be a CM Punk. So Roman taking it off of Punk meant a lot more. If they thought Seth was that important, Seth would have been the champion last year, and Roman would have took it off of him. But I guess due to injuries and all that crap, that doesn't happen. But Roman spit a lot of truth. Now, on the flip side of this, Seth Rollins won the physicality battle because, you know, he took out Roman Reigns. But all in all, it was a great segment, and it just gets me more invested in this match at SummerSlam between these two because I want to see Roman Reigns kick the shit out of Seth Rollins. And I want Roman Reigns to get this monkey off his back that he can't defeat Seth Rollins. Like, come on, Roman Reigns, let's go. SummerSlam. Retain your championship and kick friggin' Seth Rollins' ass.